Hello everyone! Welcome to How to Draw Anything. Today we're going to be drawing Naruto. We're going to start by analyzing his features and we're going to draw or imagine some lines over Naruto's face to help us lay out his facial features, and this way we can understand his proportions and where some of the features line up on his face. Let's draw a horizontal line on the top and bottom of Naruto's face and then one right across the middle. We can already see that the middle line rests on top of Naruto's eyes. Next, let's split the bottom half in two again, and now we can see that his nose lines up with this line. Next, we can divide the lower sections in half again, and now we can see that his lower eyelid and his mouth line up with these lines as well. Now let's do the vertical lines, and we'll start with his eyes. Typically the space between the eyes is the same width as one eye, but we can see in Naruto that the space is a little bit wider than the standard proportions. However, if we draw a line from his eyebrows downward, it lines up with the corners of his mouth. Also, if we draw a line from his pupils downwards, we can see that his whiskers line up with that line. We're going to be drawing the guidelines with our drawing so that it's easier to map out Naruto's face, and then we will erase them and clean up our drawing before we color. If you're ready, grab a paper and a pencil and let's get started. So I've already drawn the first three horizontal lines, top of his head, chin, and then the line across the middle. So we're just going to go ahead and divide the bottom section in half. Try your best to use a ruler and draw these lines as light as you can because we're going to be erasing them. We're going to then again divide each of the sections in half. Don't worry about the vertical lines just yet. Now let's draw a half circle for Naruto's head in the top section. And remember, it's okay if it's not perfect. You can always erase and make it better. I definitely erase a lot. I'm actually making my lines really dark for the purpose of the video, but normally I would draw these much lighter. Now we can draw his jaw and his chin. We're going to draw a vertical line going downward and slightly in, but we're going to stop drawing at the second to last guideline. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to leave the bottom section for just his chin. And now we can draw a soft triangular shape for his chin, meeting towards the center. And again, you can erase as you go along to make your picture as symmetrical as you can. Okay, now we can add the vertical guidelines. I made a few mistakes drawing the lines initially, so that's why some of my lines are erased. Let's try our best to recreate what we saw when we analyzed Naruto's face earlier in the video. If you need to, go back and pause the video to the part in the beginning where we analyzed his face with the lines. Follow along with me and try your best to make the section in the middle the same width as the ones on each side. Now I'm checking with my pencil to make sure they're all about the same size. And we're ready to go. Alright, now I need you to erase the same line I'm going to erase because we're going to be drawing the bottom of his eyelid right in this section. And you can erase it lightly so that you know exactly where you want to place that sort of U shape that we're going to be drawing for his lower eyelid. It's going to be a little bit lower than where the line is. It's just a very, very wide U-shaped line. It's almost flat, but it has a little bit of a curve to it. And now I'm just going to draw a little line coming outward and up from the outer corner on each side. Now we're going to draw a short little line from the inner corner up. It's going to get a little bit wider as we go up. Now we can continue that outer line. See, I just go a little bit wider, almost reaching the guideline. I'm just making the bottom of his eyelid a little bit darker. So now we're going to draw a short line that's going to create almost like a slightly little triangular shape right there. It is going a little bit inward. Now we're going to extend that outer line. Don't make it too pointy. And now we can draw his upper eyelid, which is kind of like a half circle. Don't draw it too dark in case you need to erase it, because we are going to be darkening this line. And now we can make the top line a little bit thicker. There's also a little bit of a section there in the corner where the line is also slightly thicker than in the other parts of the eye. Okay, so we're going to draw his pupils, or I should say his iris. It's not a full circle, it's kind of like a oval shape. Doesn't touch the bottom eyelid. Now we can draw little reflection points in his eyes. So this is like a highlight or light reflecting his eyes. Next we'll draw the pupil. It's actually smaller than that reflection light. So now for the details in his eyes, about in the halfway point, we're going to draw sort of like this upside down U shape that curves underneath the pupil and then does another upside down U shape on the other side. I know that's confusing, but when we color it, we will do a close-up and you'll be able to see it better. So I'm going to draw his bandana next, but I want to make sure I leave enough space for his eyebrows. And I'm going to fix this corner right here because it's a little bit too pointy. So let's do his bandana. We're going to start with the center part. Make sure to leave enough space for his eyebrows. So we're drawing this line horizontally and straight across. And then when we connect it, we're going to bring it up a little tiny bit towards the edge of his head, so that it gives the illusion that the bandana is wrapped around his head. And it almost looks straight, but it just has a slight curve. Now we can draw his eyebrow. It's going to come down and it's going to meet at the guideline. We're going to draw a short little line that's going to come inward and up to create that little V shape. And then you're going to draw a line from the top that goes from thicker to a little bit thinner. And I'm just erasing some of my guidelines to make it easy to add the wrinkles and the details of that part of his eyebrow. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to do the top line a little bit wider at the top and then tapering in a little bit towards the guideline. You can draw another short little line that comes inward and up, creating that little like wrinkle right there. And we're going to add a few more wrinkles to this side. I'm erasing parts of the guidelines, but we're going to erase them better once we outline this with a marker. All right, let's draw his nose. We know right where it goes because we have these guidelines set up for us, and we already analyzed his face. So right around here, let's draw his two little nostrils. And we can draw a straight line that's short down the center. Now we can draw his mouth. It's sort of like a horizontal line across, but he has a little bit of a frown. So we're going to erase that section, even though we can kind of still see where that line was. So we can draw our little frowning face. We need to bring this side a little bit more outward to meet the guideline. So now we can draw his ears. And they might seem a little big when I draw them here, but remember I haven't added his spiky hair, so that's going to balance out the look of his ears. So we're going to start right here where the bandana is, and we're going to stop at that line down there. So let's draw our half circle and then bring it down and stop right around the same line where we drew his nostrils. We can do the same thing on the other side. Okay, we're going to do like a little V shape right here in the middle. Do the same thing on the other side. And we can draw this curved shape that comes outward, like an upside down J. Same thing on the other side. Now we can extend that line a little bit so that we can connect all of it and finish the details in the ears. We're going to draw a C shape and another C shape here. And we're done with his ears. Now we can work on his bandana. So we got to do the top part. We're going to do it very similar to the way we did the bottom part by drawing the center first, straight across, and then connecting it to the sides of the head in a slight curve but downward. Okay, so notice the bandana tapers off a little bit towards the sides of his head. So I'm going to erase the guidelines that are in the center of the bandana because I'm going to be drawing the rectangle there. So I drew it a little bit too long, but I'm going to fix it in another part of the video. You'll see. So I already erased it. And I zoomed in a little bit so that you guys can see how I draw the symbol that Naruto has in the center of his headband. So I'm just fixing the bandana here. So his bandana or headband is called a shinobi headband, and the symbol in the center is a leaf. We're going to draw a C shape with a short little stick that comes outward on the top, and a little triangular shape here on the left-hand corner. And then we're going to turn that C shape into a spiral. So the symbol represents or means leaf, as in a leaf from a tree. I did the spiral a little bit too inward, so I just erased it a little bit, and I'm just going to make it a little bit shorter. See? So we have to draw the little studs that attach the metal plate to the bandana. There are 3 on each side. All right, now we're going to draw the hair that is on the sides of his head, and then his spiky hair on the top. We start from the top of the bandana. We're drawing like V shapes that come outward. Very reminiscent of Bart Simpson. And now the hard part is over. So we can start erasing and cleaning up our paper. Okay, let's trace him with a Sharpie and erase all the guidelines. Clean his face real good so we can add the whiskers. Remember, they are going to line up with his pupils. So I drew them in pencil, and now I'm going to trace them with a marker. He has 3 on each side. So now let's erase everything nice and clean before we start coloring him. We're going to color his face first, then his hair, and the last thing we'll color will be his eyes. All right, here we go. Let's color his eyes. And we're going to trace that same line that we have across the middle with a dark blue crayon. We're going to color the top half dark and then the bottom half in the same shade but a little bit lighter. So remember, it's like an upside down U shape on each side, and then sort of a U shape under the pupil. All right, we are done. Hope you had fun drawing Naruto. Don't forget to check out my other videos and click like and subscribe. And please let me know in the comments what you want me to draw next. Thank you and bye.